Good morning, students. This is KG Mr. in front of you, and as you know, I have posted the video part 1 and part 2 video lecture for class 12th of chapter electricity. But due to certain reasons, I was not able to post that is part 3, 4, and 5. And then you have seen that I have posted part 6, 7, okay, and 8. So I got the comments in my comment box that I should go for the third, fourth, and fifth part also. So here I am, okay. And for this third part, that is on chapter electricity, okay, current electricity for class 12. The today's topic, first topic is charge carriers or current carriers, okay. Current carriers. Current carriers. Now, who are current carriers? Who is to carry the current? Okay, the particles which used to carry the current are called current carriers. Okay, let's see in the case of conductors, that is metals, which are very common to us. No, whenever we are talking about the current flow of current, we always take the conductors, that is metals. Now, what special is there in them, due to which they are very good carriers of current, or they conduct the current very well? The answer is that they have got free electrons. Okay, so the free electrons are current carriers in case of metals. Now, what about the case of electrolytes? Electrolytes means, yes, I should tell you, I think you might know from your chemistry, but then also I would like to tell you the acids, the bases, and the salts, these all are electrolytes. What is the specialty of electrolyte? Specialty of electrolyte is that when you make aqueous solution of it, like see, if you are taking NaCl, the simplest one, and making solution of it in water, aqueous solution, what happens? It will break into Na plus and Cl minus. What is this? This is a cation. What about this? This is an anion. Okay, this is cation and this is an anion, and these two actually used to move in the solution in order to carry the current. Okay, so who are the current carriers in case of electrolyte? Obviously they are cations and anions. In case of conductor, that is metals or solid conductors, it is free electrons. Okay, now in case of gases, obviously in case of gases they are electrons and ions. See, when I am talking about the ions, that means it can be cation, that is positive ions, as well as negative ions, that is anions. Okay, as well as electrons also, remember. Now when we are talking about the semiconductors, what about the semiconductors? Listen, in case of semiconductors, again we have got the two types of current carriers. One is obviously the electrons, another is holes. Holes means actually in covalent bond, you know, sharing of electron is there. If one electron is absent from there, then what will happen? A vacancy is created and this vacancy will be positively charged, and this is called hole. Okay, that's what happens with the semiconductors. So holes are also the current carriers which are positively charged. Okay, we can say in short, the positively charged vacancy is called hole, and they also used to carry the current. So this is the basic idea of the current carriers, okay, in different types of conductors. Now after this, the next topic of today is, that is mechanism, how the current used to flow in a conductor. Okay, we are going to talk about the mechanism, how the current will flow in a conductor. Okay, see, you might have heard about free electrons. Okay, as I also told you while talking about the current carriers. Now, what are these free electrons exactly? Okay, what they are, how can we imagine about them? Okay, because see, once we are able to feel the concept, no, we are able to imagine the concept, only then we can say yes, we know the concept. Okay, because whatever you feel, you never forget. Whatever you might have heard, or red, you may forget. What you have seen, that remains longer. But what you have done, that remains even longer. And what you have felt, that remains forever. Okay? I hope you will agree with me with this concept. Okay. Now see, suppose you have taken a metallic conductor. I am going to give you the example. I will explain with the help of example. Okay. Suppose you have got a metallic conductor. Let it be aluminium. You have taken an aluminium wire. This is the aluminium wire, suppose. And suppose this aluminium wire is made up of, obviously it is made up of aluminium atom. Okay. Suppose it is made up of, let it be 1 crore aluminium atoms. Okay, that's not impossible. It's very possible because we know that atoms cannot be seen by naked eye, and this conductor is quite larger. Okay, it can have even more number of atoms. So, for example, we are taking, suppose let it be 1 crore of aluminum atoms are there in this. Now what we know, there are how many free electrons which are there with the aluminium, which aluminium atom tries to give out. Yes, how many valence electrons are there with the aluminium? Yes, 3. Yes, obviously 3. So as it is having 3, so in order to complete its octet, it will require how many electrons? 5 more to complete the octet. Will it get the 5 electrons from the others? No way. Okay, so it has got the only option to leave these 3 outermost electrons in order to acquire its octet state. Okay, now for that what it will do, so 1 atom of aluminium, it releases 3 electrons and becomes Al3 plus. Now the same way, it has got 1 crore of aluminum atoms. So how many electrons, free electrons are possible? As each atom is contributing 3 electrons, it is giving out 3 electrons and becoming this. Okay, or I should write like this, Al is giving out 3 electrons plus becoming this. Okay, now we are focused on this 3 electrons only. So every atom is giving 3 electrons. So how many electrons 1 crore of aluminum atom will provide us? Obviously, it will provide 3 crore electrons. Now, my dear children, let me tell you, these 3 crore electrons, they leave their parent atom. What they do? They leave their parent atom. You might be surprised because I am not providing any ionization energy. Then also they are leaving. Yes, then also they leave their parent atom, and they are free to move in this bulk of this conductor. Bulk means, let me explain you, okay, clearly. They can move on the surface of this conductor as well as inside this conductor. That is called bulk. Inside means that is called bulk. So they are free to move on the surface of the conductor as well as inside this conductor. But remember, they are not supposed to go out. You might be thinking why they are not supposed to go out. When they are free, they can go out. No. See, freedom also has limitations, okay? So what happens? Suppose 1 electron out of it, let's see what will happen. 1 electron out of it tries to skip out. The moment this electron has left this surface, what do you expect? This aluminium conductor has lost 1 electron. As it has lost 1 electron, what will happen to it? Will it acquire some charge or not? Yes. What type of charge it is going to acquire? Exactly correct. You are right. You are right. It will acquire positive charge. And what do you think? What type of force acts between a positive charge and a negative charge? Repulsive, is it? Oh yes, attractive. Correct. So attractive force will be acting. As soon as this attractive force acts, what will happen? This attractive force, will it allow the electron to escape or it will pull it back? Obviously, it will pull it back and the electron will again come out. It will return back and it will be lying in this metallic conductor or in a piece of aluminium. Okay, So it can move in this conductor, in the bulk of the conductor, but it cannot go out. That is the restriction. Okay, one thing I have told you that they are leaving their parent atom and they are free in this conductor. But the second thing which I told you, they are moving in this conductor. Now see, for motion, energy is required. Okay, so the question which arises, from where they are getting the energy? What is the means of energy? Okay, see, actually they are getting energy, no? From where? That's what I am going to tell you. See, suppose you have taken a conductor. I think this is clear to you, the free electrons concept. Okay, now about their motion I am going to talk to you. Now suppose you are keeping this conductor on a table inside your room, and suppose atmospheric temperature at that point of time is suppose 25 degrees Celsius. Let it be. What do you find generally? Any day, if the conductor is kept in the shed and you are touching the conductor, what do you find? It appears cool little bit, no? That means due to its conductivity of heat, no? Whatever heat it gains, some of the heat it loses to the surrounding. So that's why, its temperature lies little bit less than the surrounding temperature. Okay. So if the surrounding temperature is 25, we can say okay, it may be something 24 degrees Celsius or 23 degrees Celsius. Okay. Okay. Let it be any one number. Suppose it is 24 degrees Celsius or let it be 23 degrees Celsius. Doesn't matter a lot. Now, when this temperature is 23 degrees Celsius, now you tell me what will be see that, and it remains, see, after half an hour again you check its temperature. What you will find? If its temperature was 23 degrees Celsius earlier, then after half an hour again it will remain 23 degrees Celsius. What does it mean? See, for understanding what is happening exactly, we have to go for an activity. I have to discuss an activity. What is that activity? Suppose you have gone to your kitchen of your house and you have taken a pan. Pan you have taken, and you have just lighted your gas stove and you have kept the pan over it and started heating. Once you are heating it, just do one thing. You have taken a thermometer, okay, but don't take that one, Fahrenheit one. No, not at all. Okay, because Fahrenheit it's for measuring the temperature of human body, and its range is very less. So you will just end up destroying it. So don't use it at all. Okay. Otherwise, you will say, sir has told. That's what I have done. No, don't do that. So you can, if it is possible, then you can get a Celsius thermometer, okay, which has got the range of 100 or more than 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, commercial Celsius thermometers are also available in the market. And if that is, the tip of that is touching the pan, then what will happen? You can observe that temperature start rising. And as soon as it reaches to 100 degrees Celsius, you do one thing. Switch off the gas. Okay, and after half an hour again you go, exactly after half an hour you go and check what is the temperature of that pan. Is it at same that 100 degrees Celsius or it has gone down? What do you think? What you will find? Obviously your experience says correct that the temperature will go down. It will not remain 100 degrees Celsius. Now my question from you is that how to maintain that 100 degrees Celsius once the pan is heated till 100 degrees Celsius? What? Yes, exactly correct. In order to maintain that 100 degrees Celsius, we have to keep on heating that pan at a particular flame. What does it mean? It means to maintain the temperature of a body, continuous supply of heat is required. But what you have seen here, its temperature remains 23 degree or 24 degrees Celsius constant after half an hour also. So that means if we apply the same concept here, from somewhere continuous heat supply is coming inside this conductor, or this conductor is absorbing heat continuously from somewhere, and that's why its temperature remains constant for the half an hour. Yes, my dear children, it is truth. From where it is absorbing the heat continuously? It is absorbing the heat continuously from the surrounding. And we know very well, once heat is taken by somebody, it changes its form. The energy changes its form from heat to something else. And that's what happens here also. My dear children, this heat energy gets converted into kinetic energy. But kinetic energy of which particles? Whose kinetic energy? Does this conductor start moving by itself? No way. We have never seen, no, a conductor placed on the table starts moving. So what happens? Who gains that energy? Let me tell you, as I told you, it has got free electrons. These are the free electrons. Now I can draw for you. These are the free electrons. And now, due to the absorption of heat, they are getting kinetic energy. The heat gets converted into its kinetic energy, and electrons are start moving like this. One is moving like this, so one of you will find moving like this. Okay, if one is moving in this direction, okay, and now another is moving in this direction, so one is moving in this direction. So they are moving in a zigzag way, and even they are moving the zigzag way, what you find? This is moving in this direction, so you find this electron is moving in this opposite direction. This is moving upward direction, one electron is found moving in this direction. One is moving in this direction, okay, what do you find? This electron moving in this direction. One is moving, see, diagonally, this is moving upward diagonally. So what do you find? First, let's not go for that, what we find, but we can discuss if the electrons are moving at first sight, what we perceive, what we think. They start thinking, if the electrons are moving, there is electric current. So, if we are going to touch it, we will get shocked. Now you tell me, have you ever got a shock while touching the lock which is hanging with their gate? No, not at all. The iron gate which is there in front of your house? No, no way. The bicycle which is metallic, while touching that, have you got a shock? No. Then why? The electrons are moving, the current should be there, but we are not getting shock. That means there is something there which we are missing. Yes, my children. They are moving in such a way that they balances each other's motion. As they balance each other's motion, so what we get? We get net, or not net, we can say average thermal velocity of free electrons in a conductor is 0, and that's why we don't get shock at all. Okay, otherwise what you will find? Otherwise you will find that you are reaching to the school and the guard uncle is opening the gate, and the moment he is touching the gate, he will get a shock and he will fall down. But that is not never happens due to this reason. And what is this thermal velocity? See, the velocity these electrons have acquired because of absorbing thermal energy, and that's why these velocities are called thermal velocities. Okay. Now, you can just write the definition of thermal velocity first. Start writing. The free electrons of a conductor, absorb thermal energy from the surrounding, which gets converted into their kinetic energy. Full stop. Thus, the velocity they have acquired are known as thermal velocities. Thus, the velocities they have acquired are called thermal velocities. Full stop. Okay, you can draw this and write this one. Done. Okay, should I move ahead? Yes, permission granted. Very nice, thank you. Now see what I am going to tell you. This we have written in words. Now let's come to the symbols. Suppose, yes, let there be n free electrons. having thermal velocities u1, u2, u3 and dot 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 un. Okay, these are the thermal velocities. Then what will happen? Then u1 plus u2 plus u3 plus dot 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 plus un upon n, that is equal to 0. So directly 0 vector. Now see, it has been seen that some students, they used to miss this vector sign. See my dear children, if you are missing the vector sign, then direction part will not be there. And these are their average is becoming 0 because of their direction. I have told you, some electron is moving towards up, then other is moving towards down. So their velocities are having suppose equal magnitude, but the direction is opposite, and that's why they are balancing each other. No. So if you are not taking the vector sign, then you cannot say they are balancing each other. Okay, and that's why this vector sign is very important. Okay. So due to this only, what will happen? No net current is flowing in the conductor when it is placed or not connected to a battery or a cell. Then no current will flow through it. Okay, because net motion is 0 or average motion is 0 in the conductor. Okay, and so it causes no current and so no shock. Okay, I hope you have understood. Note it down. Now next is drift velocity. See what is drift velocity, let me tell you. I have told you about the conductor. This is a conductor. The electrons are moving in a different directions due to their thermal velocities. Okay. Now suppose you do one thing. You connect it with a battery or a cell. This is positive, this is negative terminal. Potential difference it is applying, that is V. Now, this positive terminal is connected to this end of the conductor. We can say this is the positive end of the conductor. Okay, or the end of the conductor at higher potential. And this end of the conductor is connected to negative potential. So, we can say it is the end which is the at negative potential or lower potential. Okay. Now, what will happen? The electrons are negatively charged. So, they will experience the net force towards which direction? Obviously towards the positive direction. Okay, so they will experience force in this direction. Now if they are experiencing force in this direction, then what will happen? Obviously this will feel force in this direction, it has got velocity in this direction, so it will move in some intermediate path. Okay, its direction also will change a little bit, its direction will change it is already in that same direction, so it will accelerate. This will retard because it is moving in the opposite direction. Due to the force, it will retard. Okay, its velocity will decrease. This will shift its direction of motion, this will also shift its direction of motion because of force acting on it. Now, what is drift velocity? Write the definition of it. See, then what will happen? All the electrons will be moving with different velocities from the negative terminal towards from the negative end of the conductor towards the positive end of the conductor. Okay. So as they are moving with different velocity, so if someone asks us, then it is very difficult to reply. We cannot make a list of the electrons and reply. Okay. So what we do? We find the average of that. Okay. We find the average of their velocities, and we say that yes, this is the very average velocity with which the electrons are moving from negative end of the conductor towards the positive end of the conductor. Okay. Or from the end of the conductor at lower potential to the end of the conductor at higher potential. Okay. And that average velocity is called drift velocity. Got it? So start writing. The average velocity with which free electrons of conductor move from the end of the conductor at lower potential to the end of the conductor at higher potential is called drift velocity of those free electrons, is called drift velocity of those free electrons. Full stop. Velocity, you know, it is a scalar quantity or vector always? Obviously it is vector, no? So it is a vector quantity denoted by Vd and has SI unit, denoted by Vd and has SI unit. You know what is SI unit? It is after all velocity, no? It can be of any type of velocity, but it's velocity. And velocity will have always same SI unit, that is, which we know, meter per second. What about CGS unit? That is known to you. It is centimeter per second. Okay. So this is about this drift velocity. Now how to get the expression for it? Now see what will happen. Let's go for the expression part. I hope you have understood this. See, this conductor, it is connected to a battery, okay? As you know, it is connected to a battery. Now its potential is V. So what it will do, it will create an electric field inside it. Let the electric field is created is E. When the electric field created is E, then what will happen? A force will be acting on these electrons in this direction. And what is that force? Can we say that force is how much? Force is E into E, because we know that electrostatic force acting on a charge Q when placed in an electric field E is how much? That is Q into E. Okay. So here the force will be this much. Here we can put a negative sign. Why? Because this will feel a force, electron will feel a force in the direction opposite to the electric field. Okay? Because the electric field is always from the positive end towards the negative end. So direction of electric field is this one. But direction of force on the electron is this one. This is direction of force and this is direction of electric field. So both are opposite, that's why we are putting negative sign. Now, if m is the mass of electron, then what will happen? Acceleration is, we know that it is force upon mass, because F is equals to ma. From there we can say A is equals to F upon m, and therefore here what we will get? E upon m, because this is the value of F. Okay, so acceleration which we got, that is equals to minus E by m. And if you want to write in scalar form, you can simply we can write equation 1 and you can write in the simply like this, E by m. Negative sign will not be there because that negative sign comes due to the acceleration vector direction part. Okay, that comes due to direction part. So we have got the acceleration which the electrons will feel. Okay, I hope you have written this. Yes. Okay, now you just reply one thing. Tell me one thing, my children. The charge of each electron is same or not? Yes, no. Mass of each electron is same or not? Obviously, because all the electrons are identical. And if the electric field is uniform inside the conductor, then electric field intensity for all the electrons is same or not? Obviously same. When all the things are same, then the acceleration of each electron will be same or not? Obviously, it will be same. So all the electrons will have same acceleration. Okay? Now, what is different? That I am going to tell you, don't worry. Let there be n free electrons. Okay? Let there be n free electrons. Then what will happen? If there are n free electrons having thermal velocity u1, u2, u1. See, these thermal velocities, why I am writing in terms of u? Because they are initial velocities. Even if you have not connected this potential difference, then also that velocity was there. Okay, that's why these are initial velocities. And after this, whatever acceleration it is going to experience due to this applied potential difference, that will happen. Okay. So what we can write? Thus, not thus. One more concept is left, that is relaxation time. But before this, what we can do? See, therefore, u1 plus u2 plus dot plus un upon n equal to 0, which already we know. This is our equation number 3. Okay. Now we can write one more thing. Relaxation time. What is this relaxation time, my dear children? See, you know, when electrons are moving, they are moving zigzag. So what is the chance? See, if you have got a very narrow corridor, and in that narrow corridor, in a school or in a, we can say, in some other way, okay? In a school, I think it's better example we can take. Lots of children are there. I'm representing them by means of points, and they all start running, and they all want to reach the gate of the school first. So what will happen? There will be collisions. Okay. One student, when it is colliding with the other student, what will happen? This electron was this student was moving faster, and it collided with this student. So what will happen? After collision, they will fall. So the student which was very fast will lose its velocity, and again after collision, again what will happen? It will fall down. Then again it will wake up. Okay, stand up, and again it will start running. Okay. Again it has to accelerate to acquire the same velocity. Okay. Now again what will happen? As it's crowded, so again it will collide with the someone else. Okay, and again it will fall down. Again it will wake up and stand up, and again start moving. Again start running. Again it has to acquire the velocity. So in this way, it will go under lots of collisions. And the same thing happens with the electrons. Okay, they collide with each other as well as the parent atoms which are present inside the conductor. Okay, and during each collision, they are losing their energy. They are falling down, again they are standing up, again they start moving. Okay, so they are losing their velocity, they are losing their energy. Obviously, when they are losing their velocity, they are losing their kinetic energy. Okay, velocity is lost means kinetic energy is lost. Now, the time between two consecutive collisions. See, it has collided with this one, and now after collision, it stood up and started running and acquired some velocity before the second collision. So between the first collision and second collision, it has got some time to increase its velocity and increase its energy freely. That time is called relaxation time, because in that time it was relaxed. No, that is, it is not suffering any collision. It is just increasing its velocity by putting lots of effort. So that time is called relaxation time in case of electron. Okay. Now see what will happen when an electron is moving from this end to that end. What will happen? Some may collide 5 times, some may collide 10 times, some may collide 20 times. So whoever will collide 5 times, that electron will get more relaxation time between two collisions. Okay, because 5 times means equally divide whole time of time taken by that electron reaching from this end to that end, and then you can divide it by 5. So you will get the time gap it is having between two consecutive collisions. Now the other electron is undergoing 10 collisions. So for that electron, the relaxation time will be lesser one, because total time it has taken to reach from this end to that end upon 10. So you will get lesser time of relaxation for that electron. So for some other electrons which is undergoing more collisions, the relaxation time will be less. Okay. So you can write the definition of relaxation time. The time between two consecutive collisions. The time between two consecutive collisions is called a relaxation time. Is called a relaxation time. Full stop. It is a scalar quantity denoted by tau. Tau, the torque, for torque you have used tau, that tau. And has SI unit, obviously time has same SI unit, that is second. Okay. Clear? Okay, now we can write, let the relaxation time of electrons, rather free electrons. Okay, should I rub this so that I can write it? Okay, thank you, children. Free electrons B tau 1 comma tau 2 comma dot 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 tau n. Okay, this is the relaxation time of different electrons. Okay, so the final velocity after one relaxation time will be, so after one relaxation time, what will be the final velocity of each electron? That we can find it out. So we know that every electron has got initial velocity, that is u1, u2, u3 like that. So their final velocity will be what? Let's see. First electron will have final velocity v1, and that is how much? u1 plus a, acceleration is same, common, and tau 1. For the second it is v2 is equals to u2 plus a2, sorry, a will remain same for all, it is not changing, tau 2. In the same way for the other particles or for the other free electrons, for nth free electron it will be Vn is equals to Un plus A vector and then tau n. So this is our equation number 4. Okay, just note it down. Noted? Okay. Now I'm going to wrap this. Thus, the average velocity of electrons with which they approach positive end of conductor is, what is that velocity? That is Vd we call, drift velocity, already I have told you. So Vd we have to find out now. Is Vd, that is Vd is equals to V1 plus V2, because everything we have to find out, plus Vn whole upon n. Okay, this is our equation number 4. Okay, 4 or 5? Oh, it is 4. Okay, now what we can do from equation 3 and 4, rather equations from equations 3 and 4, what we will get? Let's see. Vd is equals to, we can put the values of V1, V2, V3, Vn, that is what? U1 plus A tau 1 plus U2 plus A tau 2 plus dot 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 plus Un plus A plus tau n and whole upon n. Okay, now we can separate them. How? Let's see. I'm going to wrap this. Okay, have you done? Very fine. Just like leave the last equation, okay, and I will rub all, because others are not needed now. We have utilized already. This implies that Vd is equals to, we can take, see, U1, U2, U3 separately. So we can get U1 plus U2 plus dot 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 plus Un, and we can separate it, we can take this n, okay, like this. And the remaining plus A is common in all, so we can write tau 1 plus tau 2 plus dot 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 plus tau n and whole upon n. That we can do. See, it can be done or not? Just tell me. Okay, obviously it can be done. Now, we have taken that force, okay, so that okay. So we have used those two equations, okay, and now what we can do, but u1 plus u2 plus dot 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 plus un upon n equal to 0, okay, that already we know. Also, let tau 1 plus tau 2 plus dot 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 plus tau n upon n. What is this, you tell me? These all are the relaxation time of different electrons. And when you are finding this, what is this? Yes, it is denoted by tau, and what is this? This is average relaxation time. This is average relaxation time, okay? And when we are going to put this, all these things in the above equation, what we will get? We end up getting Vd is equals to, yes, this part is already 0, A is there, and that is tau. Okay. Now we can put the value of from this equation 1. So using equation 1, what we will get? We will get Vd equal to value of A, that is E, small e, capital E upon m, and this tau. Okay, this we have got. This is the expression for drift velocity, which indicates that drift velocity has got opposite direction to that of electric field, and that already we know. Electron always feels force opposite to the electric field because of its negative charge. So that's why the drift velocity will have opposite direction to that of electric field inside the conductor. Okay, or if in scalar form you want to write, then you can write simply Vd is equals to E by m into tau. So we don't have to write the negative sign when we are not writing the vector form. Okay. So this was for the drift velocity with which electrons actually move in the conductor, which causes current, the flow of current. Okay. So that's all for today, my dear children. I hope all of you have understood. Okay. So keep on studying. Take care of yourself. God bless you all. Okay. And today is Guru Purnima. So happy Guru Purnima to you all, to your family members, relatives, and everyone. And God bless you all. Thank you.